ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਸਿਟੀ ਔਰ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਵੀ ਆਉਣੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਕਾਂਗਰਸ ਔਰ ਸੈਨੇਟ ਦੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਲੀਨੋਈ ਜੈਕਸਨ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਵਰੀਤ ਕੰਗ ਹੋਣੀ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ 5 ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨਰ ਲਈ ਖੜੇ ਨੇ। ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨਰ ਦੀ ਡਿਊਟੀਜ਼ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨਰਸ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਸ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ 5 ਦੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਕੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਨਵਰੀਤ ਕੰਗ ਹੋਣਾ ਨਾਲ। ਇਹ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ USCCA ਇੰਸਟ੍ਰਕਟਰ US ਕੰਸੀਲਡ ਕੈਰੀ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਔਰ NRA ਰਾਈਫਲ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵੀ instructor ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ। Welcome Navreet Kang ji. You are Chacha ji to us, so we'll keep that on the full disclosure. But you're running for commissioner of Jackson County, Illinois State, District 5. So first of all, can you give the audience a brief about Navreet Kang, the candidate for commissioner?
Okay, sure. Well, like I said, my name is Navreet Kang, and I have been a resident of Jackson County for 33 years, and I'm a local state farm insurance agent and also a training counselor for U.S. Concealed Carry Association, as well as certified instructor for USCCA, as well as NRA. So with that, I have been elected to a city council for the city of Carbondale. I was the first Sikh or Indian elected in the history of Carbondale since 1858. I was the first council member who was of Indian origin. And I served that council duty for 4 years, up from 2015 through 2019. And this time I'm running for the District 5 of Jackson County as a county commissioner. There is 14, there are actually 7 districts and 2 commissioners per district. And that's how the formation is of the board, administrative board. And our duties will be, if I get elected, so my duties will be to vote on the affairs of the county, not just for my district, but for countywide. And for the fiscal responsibilities, any budget that we vote on and how we spend that money and what needs to be done for the citizens of Jackson County at large. Although we are elected only from one district, but we have responsibilities to the entire county. So all 7 districts. And we have been, for the last 30 plus years, controlled by the Democratic machine. They control the sheriff's office, they control the treasurer's office, the supervisor of assessments for property taxes, treasurer's office, Jackson County clerk, Jackson County circuit clerk, and the regional superintendent of schools for Jackson County, Perry County, Randolph County, and I think it's Pulaski County. There's about 4 or 5 different counties. There's a regional superintendent for them. So they have been in the county for all these years, and absolutely they're popular. The way they do business is tax people and spend their money. So they have been spending people's money to do things like right now they're looking at a $23 million budget on a administrative building which they do not need. Okay, they have very good offices at the bottom of the basement of courthouse, and so we have adequate facilities, but they want to spend $20 million on a building, administrative building. So those are the kind of things. We had a $9 million surplus in a Jackson County nursing home, which was owned by the county people. And we had a trader who had invested that money into the stock market. Now, granted, he was wrong. You're supposed to have public funds invested in market. But he had a $7 million surplus because of that. Then took the money. Then he sued them, settled out of court with him at age 55. They gave him his full retirement, back pay for whatever he was entitled to, up to age 60. And then they hired later, who ran the Jackson County nursing home into the ground. So we do not have $9 billion surplus. Jackson County Nursing Home from a few years ago is history. So this is the history of Jackson County Democratic Party. And why I'm running, I can replace one of those Democrats and I can vote more conservatively, more fiscally responsibly.
You actually made quite a few points on what's happening, the surplus, investing in the stock market or the markets as a whole. Those are genuine issues. So suing the county because of personal misconduct and then getting a settlement out of it, I'm going to take that at a different angle. As a candidate for the county commissioner position, I'm assuming that you can bring in checks and balances that would avoid that type of stuff. But can you tell us what actually happened to that individual? Because we have another individual on the national level who's going through a lot of, I mean, basically, he's lying on the ground, he's being kicked left, right, and center. I'm not going to mention his name, but every chance that's gotten by the administration, all the other elected officials, they take a left jab at this guy. Why? Because he was a Republican ex-president? I don't know. But when we find these type of abuses within the system by other elected officials, that we've had one case just a few weeks in the last few weeks, a elected official had a journalist shot. Basically, it was a hit, a hired hit that happened, and yet the media does not want to talk about it. As a future commissioner for Jackson County, what type of checks and balances could we expect from Commissioner Navreet Kang to address some of these imbalances?
Okay, it goes two different ways. One is we have to have the majority of Republican commissioners on the county board, and have a majority, which they have not had for over 30 years. And that means the Jackson County Democratic machine can continue to do what they want to do, as is the case, redrawing the districts in our Jackson County in the last census, after 2020 census. They redrew the maps. They did not elect anybody else, but the clerk went ahead and voted with them, who is also a Democrat. And instead of him saying, hey, let's make it fair, no, they don't want fairness. They want fairness toward them so that it favors their candidates so they can continue to control. And that's one reason why we have to change. First off, if we can't change the mix, then checks and balances will be null and void. No matter what you do, you are a minority. As I was on the city council, pretty much, I'm the only conservative voice on the city council. So if that be the case, there's only 6 of us versus 8. They'll continue their agenda the way they have been. And you asked me what happened with the administrator who got early retirement and settlement out of court for lump sum. He's comfortably retired in Florida. So he's enjoying his retirement. So that's what happens.
Right. Now, the follow-up question to that, if Navreet Kang was the administrator, what do you think might have happened to Navreet Kang in that case?
Oh, they would make an example of me. However, that on his side, okay, he did not do anything so wrong that he embezzled the money, percentage of the money. He didn't do that. He did it for the people of Jackson. Okay, albeit it was wrong, he invested it. He went counter to the policy that's recommended for public institutions.
Exactly. And the counter side is if we had the 2008 market crash during that time, it could have been very, very detrimental. So
exactly,
it's against
yes. That's the reason
why against the rules.
The market.
And you win some, you lose some. In his case, he won, but if he'd have lost, it could have been detrimental to the county. But anyway, moving forward, as a candidate in this commission for the position of commissioner on Jackson County, you mentioned a lot of the positions that are out there, like sheriff and the other fiscal officers. Coming to the sheriff, and a lot of the discussion is relevant to what you do as an NRA instructor, USCCA instructor, gun control is a significant discussion nationwide. How does that impact the legal gun owner? Because what I see is everything that they talk about is restricting my rights to legally go to the sportsman's warehouse or any other place and acquire a handgun or a shotgun. But we have a congresswoman in Los Angeles, currently a candidate for mayor. Somebody broke into her house, stole 2 handguns. What's the consequences for the criminal who stole the handguns, or the council member who says they were stored in a protected situation? But if somebody can go in there and steal the handguns only, I'm doubtful that they were actually kept in a gun safe. Where are the consequences for somebody who doesn't keep them in a gun safe and the criminal who stole the guns? Should we not be concentrating on that area for gun control? And the consequences for committing a crime with a gun. It used to be that I could go rob a bank, and if I did it without a gun, I'd get 5 years maybe. But if I went with a gun and used the gun in the offense, I'd probably get 15. Currently, there's movements out there to reduce these punishments. How does that make sense? So, as a future commissioner for Jackson County, how could you work with the sheriff to make sure that there is adequate consequences for violation of rules, and not only the sheriff but also the district attorney?
Okay, I forgot to mention that one thing, that our state's attorney or district attorney is a conservative who we got into the office 2 years. So that was the first office that we have changed. We flipped it over to the conservative side. Okay, so having him there, and also the Jackson County overall, if you look at outside the city of Carbondale, which has the largest population of the county, and we have a big university where lots of professors and students, they're indoctrinating them to be liberals, and they have never signed the front of the check. So they draw from the government exchequer all the time, and they're depending taxpayers and defining taxpayers' money. And so they vote liberal all the time, and Democrats. So that I was before last time I ran from District 6. I haven't moved, but they redrew the district where they moved me into District 5, the lines. So now I may have a chance of winning District 5, whereas I had a what they call snowball's chance in heck, to win that seat in District 6. So I couldn't have won that. So sheriff, because Jackson County mostly outside Carbondale City is red, so sheriff has some respect for the Second Amendment, and he has not brought forth any kind of those things. However, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but our good governor, healthy governor, he he's the epitome of good health, okay? And he tells everybody that you need to live healthily. And during COVID, he said, we shut down the state, nobody moves, nobody goes outside the state. So stay put for 3 weeks, they'll rule this, weed this out. And instead of him telling all about us to do, the peasants, he himself took vacations in Wisconsin, where he owns some fields and farms. And he also has a home in Florida. So he flew over there too. But now he has signed a bill that passed called Safety Act, F-T Act. And that goes into effect January 1 of 23. The second-degree murder, robbery, burglary, rape, forcible, they will not be bailable. Okay, no cash bail will be asked to be posted by these people, and the prosecutor has to make the case to the judge why this person should be held back, not automatically released on their own recognizance. So that person the bank 5 times a day, and he'll still be free by the end of the day. So those are the kind of things
And
that we are going to be
yeah,
changing.
that
Laws.
truly is the
Some
case.
home,
Yes.
somebody comes to your home, and you call the police, and you say, this person is not authorized to be at my house, he's encroaching on my property. And the police will come, sir, we have to ticket. So they write them a ticket. We'll see you in court on the such date. We're leaving. So when you say, wait a minute, that's why I called you, that this guy is a nuisance, he's not authorized to be here, he's unwelcome. Are you move him? Oh,
Mhm.
no. We can't remove him by law. So you have to deal with him still. So that's the kind of
Right.
stuff that's going on at the state level. So that's why we're trying
Right.
to put in county.
Totally, and it's a very similar situation in California with the zero bail. So it's the same type of concept. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨਰ ਦੀ ਪੋਸਟ ਲਈ ਖੜੇ ਹੋ ਜੈਕਸਨ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਲਈ। ਇਸ ਪੋਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਿਆ ਕੀ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਾਈਟ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਔਰ ਸਟੈਂਡ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ।
Well, we will like to take a look at all the expenses and go through the whole budget with a comb and see where the money is being thrown around unnecessarily. And we will seek those cuts instead of increasing taxes every year. And we have taxed people out of the Jackson County. People are just outside the border of Jackson County, and they are, fewer people are picking up the tab, fewer and fewer every year. So if I have a business here, I can't pick up and leave. But there are people who have retired or they are by somebody. They don't have a uh, route here as I have. They just up and leave or just buy property outside the Jackson County. So those are the kind of things that we're going to be doing. The first thing that our county clerk, when he got elected 2 years ago, Democrat, the thing he said to the board was, instead of saying, hey, we will find some efficiencies in our budget, try to do this, and I'll try to do this, and I'll try to do this. He said, remodel office, his office, not the entire county clerk's office, other of his staff, his personal office, that he wanted to spend $100,000 to remodel it. That was his priority over everything. So those are the kind of things that we're going to be looking for that happen. And if it continues to go on, we will have a ghost county. Nobody will want to live here because we wouldn't be able to afford the taxes that they're going to be levying.
I totally agree with that. You mentioned also some of the issues that we had during COVID related to schools and just general employment stay-at-home orders. What type of actions could the commissioners for Jackson County take on behalf of residents when it comes to schools? Is there anything that you guys could do to send a message to the school board or the school district in what they teach? Because that's becoming a large component of a challenge for a lot of citizens across the US. What is being taught to our kids? But the other piece is the triple masking, the double masking, stay at home. Over the last 2 years, of many kids have suffered in their learning cycle. I personally don't learn when I'm reading from a computer screen because it's just me. I need somebody in front of me to tell me what's going on, show me what's going on. Totally different from a hands-on experience. What can the county commissioners do in that regard should we encounter another situation like we did in the last 2 years?
All county commissioners have a great deal of in that, and we actually down our county, the businesses, restaurants, you know, Missouri, 35 miles away across the Mississippi River, was wide open and no masks and no nothing, and their numbers are no worse than ours. Actually, I think their numbers were better, but the businesses were not sinking because of the debt they were creating. Even and all the business rollouts to save the businesses, the federal government. In spite of all that, a lot of businesses could not sustain themselves, shut down. Jackson County has a health department where we have an administrator who responds to and responsible to the county board. So, as commissioner of the board, I would call on them in a majority vote to say, we're not going to shut down. We will use a common sense approach and see what makes sense, not just blankety blank because CDC, so let's shut it down, let's shut it down. Our numbers were not so great, and yet, they shut everything down. And so that's where we will go with that.
And it's good to know that, sort of, as county commissioners, you do have the ability to override something or instruct these people to not shut down when it seems not in the best interest. So the common sense approach, totally agree, totally understand it. And actually, personally, I'm glad that you can actually do that, because where we are in Sacramento, it was the health commissioner or the health director who chose to do those things, and it was like the CDC said, and we got to do it. So totally appreciate that, and I personally am supportive of that. Um, you were a council member, so you have some name recognition. Hopefully, uh, come November, you are going to be talking to me again come January as a commissioner for Jackson County. Uh, Tell us how members of the community can help you, support you, or at least reach out to you. Website, email, whatever information that you can give. When this goes on air, people can reach out and learn more about what Navreet Kang can do for Jackson County.
Well, I have a Facebook page, so where I put my agenda out and what I stand for, what I want to do, and how they can approach me. And I'm very accessible. They can find me Monday through Friday at my office, and I don't mind people coming. And during my business hours, they can come see me, and I'll make myself available as I did during the council members' term. So I have no problem with that. I also have yard signs. They are and I think you might have seen one or two here there, but let me see if I can find one for you, a picture of it. But they're pretty good looking signs. So those will be going out.
Right. I have an image of that, and we will put that in the screen when
Yeah.
you put that up there,
Okay.
so it'll be more clear.
So there, and then I will have some flyers, and I will be walking the precincts and meeting people and changing their minds if those opposed to a conservative candidate and why they should vote for. And so I like to win some votes. And there are a lot of people who are conservative outside in this. I'm very encouraged, to be honest, that there are more conservative people. I've gone through the voter rolls, and we have an app called Advantage. You can pull up anybody by name or street or zip code or by district or precinct. So there are many ways I can sort that out. And I'm walking. I know their leniency, which way they're leaning, and how they voted the last election and primary or otherwise. So I would know ahead of time who I'm dealing with, and that way I can approach with in mind. And hopefully, there's more people vote for me than the other guy.
Definitely. And hopefully,
Yeah.
this will help a few of those people reach out to you and get to follow what we've talked about and be supportive of that. Um, I'm going to take your leave, Navreetji, Chachaji, and we're going to push this out. It'll be on the air sometime in the next few days. I'll send you the YouTube. We'll share it for you. You share it. And we'll look forward to talking to Commissioner Navreet Kang come January.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
the
Thank
opportunity.
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਐਂਡ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸੋਚ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਕਾਲੀ ਰਾਏ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਨਵਰੀਤ ਕੰਗ ਹੋਣਾ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਕਾਰਬਨਡੇਲ ਦੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਰਹਿ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਜੈਕਸਨ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਦੀ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ 5 ਦੇ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨਰ ਦੀ ਚੋਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਖੜੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿਆ ਜੈਕਸਨ ਕਾਊਂਟੀ ਲਈ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਔਰ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਰੀਚ ਆਊਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਮੰਗਦਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਹੁਣ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦੇਵੋ, ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਗਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ। ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸੋਚ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਕਾਲੀਰਾਏ। ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ ਜੀ।